This is a Gear Network production. Coming to you live from Greece, New York, from the Gear Network studios, this is Talking Wrestling. Here is your host, JC Money. And after a week away, we are back to play here on the Gear Radio Network. This is Talking Wrestling with JC Money, and of course, I am your host, JC Money. And ladies and gentlemen, this free, independent wrestling podcast is made possible when you shop the Amazon store via the Gear Network website. Go to gearnetwork.com/Amazon and you can save up to 80% on select things like textbooks, for example, for you college kids. It's back to school season. You can save quite a bit of money shopping on Amazon. You don't have to go anywhere, save the gas, save the money, and of course, it helps out the program tremendously. On today's show, we're going to go ahead and we are going to discuss WWE. Of course, we are headed into Summerslam weekend, ladies and gentlemen, and it is the biggest party of the summer. Check that, the biggest party of Los Angeles for the past 7,000 years, it seems. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll touch up on TNA Wrestling and its ongoing stuff with Spike TV and, you know, is it getting canceled? Is it not canceling? What's going on there? Kind of touch up on that. We will talk local wrestling. I'll have some results from the previous UPW show. I will answer some questions regarding the comments, my commentary style, more or less. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback about that. It's not negative, fortunately, regarding my commentary style, along with Scotty Bender at Pier 6 Wrestling, which I have a good time doing. It's very fun. But in any event, we'll get right on it with some WWE talk. First time in, I think now, 3 weeks, WWE talk is going down here on Talking Wrestling. And it's, you know what? Honestly, it's nothing really huge to write home about. I mean, SummerSlam's coming up. They're focusing a lot on the Brock Lesnar-John Cena story, which, of course, that's the main event, and that's the big one. That's going to be the reason I'm watching SummerSlam, because I do want to see that match. I legitimately want to see that match. I'm a fan of Brock Lesnar. I'm a fan of Paul Heyman, and especially how Paul Heyman he is the best manager in the game right now. He is obviously he's been around for a while, but he is a throwback in a modern era where managers weren't really encouraged, it seemed. He really emphasizes the managerial part, does it very well. I enjoy whenever he comes out, him speaking for Lesnar. I mean, Lesnar is a good speaker himself. You know, he's a legit badass, and when he talks, you listen, and you're like, yeah, this dude, you know, you don't want to mess with this guy. But to have him sit there and play the role of beast and just sit there and not have to say anything, let Paul Heyman do all the talking for him, that is classic wrestling 101. The manager does the talking, the muscle sits there and does all the rest of the work. That's the old school way. That's what Blassie did with Hogan back in the day, before Hogan, you know, found his charisma and, you know, became this big star that he is today. Which, speaking of Hulk Hogan, they had a 61 years old. They had his birthday party on Monday Night Raw, where they brought out a lot of legends, including Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, who, by the way, his theme music is probably one of the funniest theme musics I've ever heard. I love it. I got it, I downloaded it, and I use it on certain coworkers of mine in my real 9-to-5 that have earned the self-proclaimed Mr. Wonderful title, and it's not a term of endearment, but, you know, it's all in good fun. But Mr. Wonderful, Roddy Piper, Ric Flair, The Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were there. Brock Lesnar comes down during the actual celebration and interferes, you know, stares down Roddy Piper, stares down Flair, stares down Nash, grabs the microphone, tells Hulk Hogan, party's over, Grandpa. Oh, well, you know, here comes John Cena, and, you know, they get out, and it really sets the stage for SummerSlam. Now, what to expect from those two, from this main event at SummerSlam? If you're expecting John Cena to win, I hate to disappoint Brock Lesnar. I'm taking Brock Lesnar, and I'm taking him as champion, not only, you know, from here on Sunday. I'm taking him as champion all the way to WrestleMania. I believe he will hold the WWE World Heavyweight Championship all the way until WrestleMania. Big run, so to speak, with the championship, with Brock Lesnar. And, you know, a lot of people have mentioned hey, Brock Lesnar's super part-time. Why is he going to be why would he be the WWE champion? Why would he, when he's not wrestling on Raw, when he's not on Raw every week or whatever? You younger fans don't know this. A lot of us old-timers remember. The WWE Championship, there was a period of time where the WWE Championship was not defended regularly. You know, it would be defended in house shows, sure, whenever they would come to house shows, but we didn't have 12 pay-per-views a year. You know, we didn't. All we had growing up was WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and SummerSlam, and Royal Rumble. The big four, if you will. And in no particular order, I believe it was WrestleMania obviously WrestleMania that was the first one. And then Royal Rumble was actually a television broadcast. The very first Royal Rumble, true story, was aired on USA Network. It only became a pay-per-view the second year. SummerSlam and Survivor Series soon followed. So that's what we had, is that we had long storylines where superstars would wrestle enhancement talents. So, for example, your Bad Boy Barry Hardys and your Dwayne Gills and Gillbergs. Scotty 2 Hotty was known as Scott Taylor. He was even Matt and Jeff Hardy in the early 90s as, 18 and 19-year-old kids were enhancement talents. Just Incredible was named PJ Walker. He was an enhancement talent. Those guys were there to, for all intents and purposes, get the crap kicked out of them by an established superstar. And that would go from WrestleMania all the way through to SummerSlam. Now, they might have a special on TV here or there, but it wasn't an every month thing. It wasn't, at WrestleMania we're preparing for Judgment Day or Backlash or whatever the pay-per-view that happens after is. It was, that's it. And then it would be Primetime Wrestling and Wrestling Challenge and Superstars of Wrestling and, any other syndicated show that they had, which would carry you over all the way until SummerSlam. In 1992, I believe, they made King of the Ring. They made the King of the Ring pay-per-view. It was either 92 or 93. They made the King of the Ring pay-per-view an add-on, and it was in June, so it kind of went WrestleMania, King of the Ring, SummerSlam, and that was fine until the Monday Night Wars blew up, WWE, WCW, pay-per-views galore. WWE Championship was not defended every week. The champion was not on every telecast every week. It just wasn't. Hulk Hogan didn't defend it every week. The Ultimate Warrior, when he was champion, he was on every other week or whatever, but he didn't defend it. So there were times where you would go, and their TV tapings would be 4 hours long, and they would air them 4 weeks out. You wouldn't see the champion but once a month. If that. So, when you're talking about that type of stuff from a television perspective, viewing it from a television perspective, in the old days, the champion didn't defend every single month, every single week, every 2 weeks. It's not like you see it now, where it's pay-per-view quality matches every week and promos and all that. It wasn't like that. It was a completely different era. If you have the WWE Network, I highly, highly, highly recommend you go back through the vaults and you go back through the years and you take a look at all of that. Read your history. Some of you younger fans or fans at independent pro wrestling shows, ask your wrestlers at the meet and greets or something if any of them know about the old days of wrestling. A lot of them will tell you. A lot of them grew up watching old stuff. A lot of them still will watch the old stuff. I know I can speak personally for me, even though I'm not wrestling, in the event that I do, I still keep fresh, not only with the current product, but I also keep watching older matches, the older stuff over and over and over again, studying, memorizing different things, taking a look, reading crowds, reading how the wrestlers themselves interact with the fans, with each other, with, the scenery around him, good guy, bad guy, neutral, manager, referee, announcer, all that type of stuff. It's all there for you. It's a picture that's painted and it's there for you. And it's so many hours of old stuff that you can just view. And I highly recommend that you all do that and understand that, because if you understand how wrestling was back in the 70s, 80s, early 90s, if you understand how it was, then you'll begin to understand where I think they want to eventually bring it back to. I would not be surprised if in 5 years, 10 years, we get back to that slower paced wrestling, especially if WWE continues their budget cuts and they need to cut things, don't be surprised if pay-per-views end up getting cut. Take a look at that. Take a look at the old stuff. It's really good stuff. I miss those days of wrestling, and I wish that those days would come back, but, it's a different era. It's a different generation. Obviously, us old-timers can't keep with the past, things come passé, so they have to adapt and evolve, but still, it was a great time. It was a great period to be a wrestling fan back in those days, and I think that a lot of people my age and older that grew up in those days will agree. All right, well, we'll take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will talk UPW Headlocks and Home Runs results. We'll give you the card for the upcoming Kayfabe Dojo show, which is this week. We'll talk a little bit about Summerslam a little more in depth and go over the matches there. And then for the interview segment, we will have the Enigma, the head trainer of In Your Face Wrestling. Drake Evans joins us later on today. And of course, we will have Mark's Minute. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Talking Wrestling and the Gear Radio Network. Good night now.
A successful product does not become a successful product on its own. Look at the Gear Radio Network, for example. We're a prime example. We had a lot of help getting here, and we can help you get where you want to go to. Advertising rates are very low to start off here on the Gear Radio Network. Visit us at gearnetwork.com. Click on the contact link to send us an email, and we can work out the details. Again, advertise your product across all of the forums at a low rate here on the Gear Radio Network. From the Gear Network studios, once again, JC Money. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Talking Wrestling with JC Money, and I am your host, JC Money. And hey, quick programming note, Better Live Than Dead with Ryan Wolf comes to the Gear Radio Network. It is an unorthodox title for an unorthodox sports show. Ryan Wolf knows his stuff. Check that out in the days and or weeks to come here on the Gear Radio Network. And of course, that and all Gear Network programming is made possible when you shop our Amazon store through GearNetwork.com. Click on the banner, one of the Amazon banners, there's like 1,000 of them, and you can shop away with whatever you want. You can save up to 80% on your school supplies for back to school, among other things. Hell, you like video games? Go buy yourself some video games in there. Buy the Paul Heyman DVD. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm going to. You can also pre-order movies. I have a pre-order Godzilla movie link up there. I mean, get up there, get to GearNetwork.com/Amazon, shop away. The holidays are coming up, and it helps our program, so we thank you very much. Now, let's go to the results from UPW Headlocks and Home Runs 3. It was actually held in a Perry Elementary School in Perry, New York. It was originally supposed to be out on the field of the baseball game. Unfortunately, inclement weather prevented that from happening. Didn't matter. Big show, big show. Went indoors at the elementary school. People there got to see ECW original Rhino defeat Cloudy in the Cloudy Open Challenge match. That, ladies and gentlemen, that was the surprise guest. The surprise guest. Cloudy was unaware. So Cloudy had an open challenge to anybody that would come there. But unfortunately for him, UPW did not make him aware that ECW original Rhino, of all people, was going to accept that challenge. Rhino defeated Cloudy in the open challenge. The Flex Express, Muscle Marcos and Dumbbell Dunn defeated the extremely cute wrestler Colin Delaney and Pepper Parks. Balls Mahoney, another ECW original, defeated your captain and mine, Nick Ando. Marc Hauss, our buddy, our contributor, Marc Hauss, defeated the Prince of Queens, Brian Myers, a.k.a. Who? Never mind. It's not worth it. He's Brian Myers now. UPW No Limits champion, the Bull of Black Mountain, Gabriel Saint, defeated Shark Boy. Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner defeated Triple X Ron Falco with Chip Stetson in his corner. Matic won the Headlocks and Home Runs Rumble by pinning the defending champion Maximo Suave to become the new Headlocks and Home Runs champion. That is a title and a trophy he will hold on to for the next year. Headlocks and Home Runs 4, he will be there to defend. The Rochester Wrecking Crew, Hellcat and Rob Sweet, defeated Danny Doring and Tommy Dreamer after Danny Doring turned on his tag team partner Tommy Dreamer. Wrecking Crew over Doring and Dreamer. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your Headlocks and Home Runs. ladies and gentlemen, that was your Headlocks and Home Runs recap there. And keeping it going with the local stuff here, the Kayfabe Dojo, which is the proverbial NXT, if you will, of the UPW, is going to have a show tomorrow night, Saturday, Pineapple Jacks. Tickets are $12 at the door. You can get them from your favorite Kayfabe Dojo star for $10 in advance. Kids 9 and under are just $5. It is held at Pineapple Jacks, ladies and gentlemen. Your main event is going to see the Kayfabe Dojo Championship put on the line as Frank the Tank Burlington, the champion, defends against Hellcat. Your buddy and mine, Marc Hauss, takes on Bobby DePinto. Plunkett takes on Johnny Kayfabe, as well as Harley Stevens and the Guardian Angel. There's a name from the past. The Guardian Angel. Fatal four-way there. Plunkett, Kayfabe, Stevens, and Angel. The Bull of Black Mountain, Gabriel Saint, fresh off of his victory over Shark Boy, takes on the Young Lion of the West, Matic 2. This is provided to me by Dusty Bloodstone, of course, so I'm reading his writing. He's got better writing than you, Todd. I'm just kidding. Love you both. You guys are awesome. Coleman Jackson against Grande Cojones. The Kayfabe Dojo Tag Team Championship is on the line as Surfs Up, the team of Coconut Jones and Ron Falco, take on those guys, Brett Mednick and Kevin Bennett. Rob Sweet against Christ Worthless. I can't remember what Marc Hauss said how his name was pronounced. Versus Angel Azul. Name I've never heard. The Battle Royal. The winner's going to face Jay Flyer later on that day. Same show. Jay Flyer will take on the winner of the Battle Royal that's going to happen at Kayfabe Dojo. And finally, the tag team match, a specialty match, if you will. I suppose I should have read this bottom to top instead of top to bottom. But, whatever. Victor Lord and Montgomery take on King Michael and Sick Rick Matrix. Of course, the card is subject to change. That is tomorrow, Kayfabe Dojo show. When we come back, Marc Hauss, Mark's Minute, and it's going to be a quick one today. Unfortunately, I had Drake Evans lined up today, but scheduling conflicts. As of press time right now, the bell is underway for an In-Your-Face wrestling show that he is a part of. Drake, I apologize sincerely. I will get everything in order, and we'll get you on next week. Next week, we are also going to have Cassius Kutcher is scheduled to be here. Also, I'm looking to get Jordan Lennox on here too. So it's going to be a big show with pretty much back-to-back interviews. So likely no WWE talk, although I might do a special podcast recapping the Summerslam, which you will see on WWE Network for how much? $9.99. Yeah, $9.99. We'll be back.
You're listening to Talking Wrestling on the Gear Radio Network.
Looking for us on social networking? Look no further. Twitter, Gear Network. Instagram, Gear Network. We are not just posting pictures of food and selfies, by the way. It's actually good stuff on Instagram. Facebook.com/Gear Network. iHeartRadio, search Gear Network. Spreaker.com/Gear Network. And, of course, GearNetwork.com.
Sports news and fun. This is the Gear Radio Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Talking Wrestling with JC Money, a condensed version, so to speak. Here, we had an interview lined up. Like I said, Drake Evans was supposed to be the guest at the beginning of the show. However, scheduling conflicts more on my end than on his. Tried to get a hold of him earlier in the week, and we were running into some audio issues. Got that corrected, but, when you're a parent, and other wrestlers that are parents know this as well, but, your family comes first. Your kids come first, and football practice, it's football season's coming up, as you'll find out on the Gear Radio Network as well. We're going to have some football programming for you. It's going to be great, but football season's coming up, and my stepsons are in a junior travel league, which is pretty cool to see. Pretty cool to see them as a proud parent. You see them in their gear and you get all pumped up and you want to go out there and you want to coach them and you want to, in my case, get out there and sling the ball, throw it a few towards him. But football practice has really consumed the week, so Drake, I apologize. I will get you on there. I hope you have a good show. Like to hear all about it next week. Cassius Cutcher, the OSPW heavyweight champion of the world, is scheduled, according to my calendar here. I'll catch up with him and make sure that he's still down with that. We'll get him on there. And Jordan Lennox, whenever he responds to Facebook messaging, I might as well just get his phone number and text him. Maybe he's a little bit quicker to respond to that. Damn you, Jordan. By the way, Jordan Lennox, congratulations. He has been promoted to head trainer at the Pier 6 Wrestling Academy. We'll talk to him about that as well next week. But right now, the head trainer of the UPW Wrestling Academy, if you will, one of them at least, and my on-again, off-again co-host, frequent contributor, Marc Hauss with Marc's Minute. Here it goes.
Welcome back to Marc's Minute. I am your host, Marc Hauss, and this week JC Money gave me, well, he didn't really say much other than give some advice. So I'm going to give you my two biggest pieces of advice. First one, keep your mouth shut and your ears open. And the second is invest in yourself. And what I mean by that, hit the gym, get a nice dress code for shows, go to practice, watch and learn your craft, and go to as many seminars and training opportunities as possible. And that's all I got this week for Marc's Minute. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Well, Marc, keeping it short. I like that. Good advice, though, definitely. Aspiring wrestlers, keep your mouths shut, your ears open. I can't emphasize that enough. I've said it before in numerous podcasts. Marc Hauss is saying it to you. Folks, it is the gospel truth. Take it from Marc Hauss, a guy whose story in this area, if you know him, if you're behind the scenes and you know, is quite legendary. The dude has earned the right to tell you this. And please, if you aspire to be anything like him, if you aspire to go to the next level, if you aspire to do even half the things that he did, listen to his advice. Please, I beg you. He's not bitter, unlike Jonathan Ash or me. Cue the music. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's broadcast, a very, very condensed edition. And again, I apologize for the interview botch, if you will. Parenting comes first. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. I don't apologize for being a good dad. So, we'll get interviews galore next week. I assure you there are people lined up that are wanting to be on this podcast, and I am wanting to have them. This is the 18th episode. And again, folks, I can't thank you enough. Real quick, before I even go ahead and get into the specifics here, I want to send a big shout out to all the new people on our Facebook page. We are officially 10 likes away from 200. We must be doing something right here. But yes, thank you. Welcome to everybody that is going to the Gear Network Facebook page. Check us out, gearnetwork.com as well. A lot of stuff on there. We are on iTunes. We are on iHeartRadio. We are on Spreaker. We are on the worldwide freaking web. I mean, we are all over the place, and we are growing. And we thank you. All right. Local fans, get to the Kayfabe Dojo show tomorrow. After you're done with that, tune into CW16, 13.2 for you folks that don't have the cable, Channel 14 for you folks that have DirecTV, Channel 16 for everybody on Time Warner. CW16, 1 o'clock in the morning. If you're too damn lazy to stay up and watch the entertainment that Pier 6 provides, set the damn DVR. Or go on to YouTube the next day because the producer loads the full episodes up there anyways. But hey, you get to hear me, you get to hear Bender, you get to hear the John. Our commentary is... God bless you, the John. You save us, because Bender and I, we go off on tangents. But in any event, I'm going off on one right now. Let's get into specifics. This is a copyrighted podcast of the Gear Radio Network, that any rebroadcast or reproduction without the express written permission of the Gear Radio Networks or me specifically is strictly prohibited. The executive producer is Mrs. Dawn Semino. Join us next week. We will have a full hour, maybe more, longer, who knows, making up for the time here today, with stars, superstars, and analysis. Summerslam Saturday, Kayfabe Dojo Saturday, Pier 6 Wrestling Saturday night on CW, Summerslam on Sunday, Monday Night Raw on Monday. Better Live Than Dead coming this weekend. Talking Wrestling next week. Beyond the Smoke, eventually Mr. Perez will get off his ass and get here. Ladies and gentlemen, We are live! We enjoy it. We thank you. Until next week, this is JC Money saying so long, everybody. Good night now. GEREnetwork.com. Also, iTunes, search Gear Network, GERE Network, and subscribe.